Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the campus of the University of Tokyo. I'm giving you a little bit of a tour of the campus by introducing to you some of the statues and busts we have on campus. And this is a statue of Josiah Condor, who taught at the University of Tokyo from 1877 to 1884. He was an engineering professor, architecture professor, and after he retired, he stayed in Japan until 1920. And this statue was erected in memory of his accomplishment at the University of Tokyo as well as in Japan in 1922. So you look at him, he looks very confident, he's got a cigar in his hand, and he's actually standing in the middle of the buildings that belong to the School of Engineering. So he was a professor of engineering, and he kind of looks at all the engineering buildings that exist to this day. And we have a very, very large engineering school at the University of Tokyo, one of the best in Asia or in the world. And he continues to oversee the operation of the School of Engineering in this way. Okay, so we're approaching the Asuka Auditorium. This was completed in 1925 as a hall to do all kinds of ceremony for the students and faculty, and it remains a kind of a central building on this campus. The Asuka Auditorium is also very well known as a site of a fierce student protest in the 1960s, especially in 1968. It's one of the landmarks of our campus. This is a bust of Charles Dickinson West. Professor West taught at the University of Tokyo from 1882 to 1908. And this was erected in 1910 it says here, erected by his colleagues, pupils, and friends. Professor West was a professor of mechanical engineering, especially he taught shipbuilding technology to the students, a very, very important technology for Japan at the time. He's said to have said, "Engine is my life," and he taught many engineers here at the University of Tokyo. So we're walking down to a pond that's on the campus of the University of Tokyo. For those of you who are interested in Japanese literature, one of the most famous novelists of the modern period from late 19th century to early 20th century author is Natsume Soseki, who was actually a professor here at the University of Tokyo for a while before he became a really professional novelist. But one of his famous works is called Sanshiro. It's about this young man who comes to Tokyo from the southern part of Japan to attend the University of Tokyo, and it's kind of a description of his life at the University of Tokyo. So if you're familiar with the University of Tokyo, it's a very interesting novel. It kind of depicts his encounters with urban life in Tokyo in early 20th century, student life, his attraction to the other sex, and how he negotiates his feelings. Anyway, this pond is called Sanshiro Pond because this is supposedly a place where he met this beautiful woman, Mineko, who becomes one of the central figures in the novel. So to this day, this pond is called Sanshiro Pond. And you can come down here and eat lunch or whatever, as long as you don't mind the mosquitoes. Okay, so we're right in front of the bust of Professor Edward Divers. He's hidden, we're kind of buried under the leaves of this tree, unfortunately. But Edward Divers came to Japan and taught science at the University of Tokyo from 1873 to 1899, and he was from England. And his bust is located right in front of the our science building right here. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to notice him in this way. Okay, so I'm looking at our library. This building is another favorite structure of mine on this campus. It was built in 1928, and there was a big earthquake in Tokyo in 1923, and our original library collapsed as a result of that earthquake. And John D. Rockefeller, the philanthropist in the United States, donated money to the University of Tokyo to rebuild another library. And it's been here since, and we just had a big renovation over the last several years, and this was just completed this year again. It's a very, very nice library, very spacious, high ceiling, beautiful. So I hope you'll get to come here next summer. Okay, so we are in front of two busts of two professors from Germany who taught at the School of Medicine in the late 19th century to early 20th century. Edwin Belt on the left-hand side and Dr. Julius Scriba on the right-hand side. Both were from Germany. Belts, I think, studied at Tübingen, and Scriba at Heidelberg. And both were professors of medicine. So their busts are located right here. Actually, we clearly need to cut the grass, but these busts were erected in 1907. And they actually face our university hospital, which is one of the largest hospitals in Tokyo, largest comprehensive, best hospitals in Tokyo, because we have an excellent school of medicine. So they're here looking after the School of Medicine. So I just gave you a little bit of our campus tour, including 5 of the busts and statues we have on this campus. And you see that this university was heavily influenced by these advisors from Europe. In the late 19th century and early 20th century, the government of Japan hired them. All of them men, male scientists, as well as we had some humanities scholars as well from Europe and North America to educate the talented students of Japan to become leaders of Japan. That was the national strategy at the time, and we tried to remember these men, at least some of them, through these commemorative art, including busts, statues, and plaques.